firstly, this time around you felt that every part of the music was intense and every decision made was an important one. Does this kind of sum up the mindset for you heading into the studio?
That was sort of the mindset that I had once I started working on the music again. I was like, I realized that I had so many decisions before me, whereas I had never felt that way as much before. That was the feeling that developed after a little while working in the studio.
What's your approach to crafting new music? Do you leave behind the normalities of daily life and enter a creative realm? What's your preferred method?
Maybe, but maybe also my daily life is sort of a creative realm. I think I'm like I'm a pretty like dreamy person. I have a strong imagination and I like to sort of get lost in it often. And I think that's how I come to make music. I think that's how I come to make art, is just because of wanting a sort of physical manifestation of what's happening in my thoughts.
The album itself was inspired by architecture, both figurative and actual. With that theme being central, do you feel you take on the role of a home for all the thought and feelings that you express?
Yeah, I think that the idea for me is that I like the architecture as a metaphor because it's structural. There's a core to it, and there's a purpose, and it houses many different things, different feelings in the case of a person, the structure of a person.
And you said it wasn't just about physical boundaries, but also about mental space. What was meant by that comment?
Well, I mean, it's hard to measure how far a thought can go. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to decide to push a thought further or follow a thought further, or gosh, I don't know. But I think there are boundaries between people, and I think that there are boundaries within one's own self of how well they know their own feelings and how well they what kind of grasp they have on who they are and what they know and what they feel. And that was, I guess, the inner boundary that I was talking about.
For this album, you stated you wanted a more deeper, more realised, more that type of sound. How much of a benefit was it to have Van Rivers on board to establish?
He was amazing. Van Rivers was a super craftsman. He's such a technical person, and he's such a feeling person, and I could say really strange things to him about sonically what I was after, and he didn't dismiss them, which was really nice. He was really fantastic.
Do you feel the creative partnership with him blossoms because he's someone you share the space with, therefore he understands the space you want to create with sound?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, he definitely has a unique insight into my spatial existence, but he always sort of says that I'm so private and I don't tell him anything.
Does this
I don't know.
Statement pretty much sum up your relationship? Each song is like a room. I was like the designer and he was the architect. That
is something I said, isn't it?
Does that pretty much the
It's a nice way to put it. Yeah, I think that's right. I gave lots of material and ideas, and he also had material. He had suggestions, he had ideas, and he was really great at putting it all together.
Let's talk a bit about the album. First song, Shape, it's an amazing song. How do you go about arranging layers and constructing a song with such a sonic sound?
It's all about my voice. It was all about me singing. And I wrote that song in a time of kind of extreme personal pain. And it was just out with it, you know what I mean? I was just sat down and sang it out and you know, sang each layer in a shorter period of time rather than how long the song is. But then I sort of expanded on that, what I had, and it became the kind of like sonic landscape that it was. But I didn't actually have lead vocals for it until like the very end.
Okay.
I had the whole like landscape of it was there, but then I didn't have the lead.
And design, of course, you stated this was one of the most impressive pieces of work you've written. What was it about that song that you were so proud of?
I think the thing with that song for me with design was that the sentiments that I was expressing were succinctly put in the lyrics. I mean, I think I felt good about what I was saying, representing my actual feelings.
Okay.
And I felt good about how the music represented those feelings as well. I felt it was all about this sort of tingling sensation, and I think you know, and kind of like hot and cold, you know, chills, and that's how it kind of sounds to me.
Aesthetically, how important was the whole imagery surrounding the Interiors album in terms of press photos, in terms of album artwork, videos? How important was that?
Well, I think you know it was pretty important. It was really.
It was central to the whole thing.
It was very central. I was really, you know, determined to have a real visual campaign with the record. And what was great about wanting that was that I actually got to do it. I mean, I would have done it no matter what, somehow.
Are some of those aesthetic inspirations to be interpreted in your live shows?
Yes. Yeah. I worked on all the visuals with Jonathan Turner, who is the sort of initial person that I've been working with. He made the video for design, and he made the cover art, and he made all my press photos, and he and I worked together with this this design firm called Spontaneous in New York, who made all the sort of show visuals, which are still a work in progress. We're working on building it, and it's continuing to grow.
You mentioned Jonathan Turner and the video for design. It consists of you dancing around in a scarcely decorated room around a morphing sculpture of sorts. Is this video signifying you left alone with your impulses and desires and anxiety?
Yeah, yes, it is. And it's about like the experience of having those strong feelings that are like a hot flash or something, like I was saying, it sounds like chills to me. It's tingling and
it's accompanied by some seductive surveillance from yourself.
Yes, exactly.
And is it true that you regard anything that grows from the earth that you can eat as a religious experience?
Well, something like that. I think it's really special that things grow out of the earth that can, you know, provide sustenance to human beings.
What one album are you most emotionally attached to?
Of all time?
Yeah, you can narrow it down to a few.
No, I can't. Of all time, well, there's a particular Joni Mitchell album that is dear to my heart, and one that I didn't discover until like later in my love for Joni Mitchell, which is called For the Roses.
Ah, yes.
And but it's not like a very accessible one for people who don't know Joni's music. So like if you haven't heard Big Yellow Taxi first and fallen in love that way, maybe it's a little bit of a difficult way in, but it's such a fantastic, cerebral, emotional outpour and amazing.